Prince Harry is said to be in full crisis mode after reports emerged that Buckingham Palace is preparing to strip both him and Meghan Markle of their royal titles. What began as whispers has now turned into a storm, and Harry's sudden flight to London is being described by insiders as an act of desperation. The trip, they claim, was not on his schedule. It wasn't for charity work or a quiet family visit. It was triggered by something much larger. Word reached Montecito that the palace, under new direction, was moving forward with official steps to remove the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's titles. Those titles have been more than symbolic. They have been the couple's last remaining tie to the monarchy and the very foundation of their public identity. Losing them would not only be a personal blow, but a financial one, threatening the brand and recognition that have followed them since leaving royal life. Sources close to the palace suggest that the person Harry is most anxious to speak with isn't King Charles, but Prince William. With the king still fighting cancer and stepping away from daily affairs, William has quietly assumed more control over royal decision-making. Insiders are calling this period the pre-succession, a transition of influence where the heir to the throne is already setting the tone for what the next era of the monarchy will look like. William is said to be taking a more pragmatic, even corporate, approach to royal management, cutting away scandal, tightening financial accountability, and restoring the monarchy's image after years of controversy. For him, the crown is no longer just a family inheritance. It's an institution that needs to survive in a modern, media-saturated world. That mission, however, has placed his younger brother directly in his line of fire. The crisis reportedly began brewing when new details about Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson's past associations with Jeffrey Epstein resurfaced. Emails, financial links, and whispered allegations brought the embarrassment back into the spotlight, reigniting public outrage. For William, this was a breaking point. According to palace aides, he realized that reputational rot was spreading from within the royal ranks. He could no longer afford to tolerate any behavior that undermined the institution's credibility. It was no longer just about Andrew's disgrace. It was about setting a precedent for how the crown handles those who trade on royal status while generating negative headlines. Harry and Meghan's public projects, ranging from Netflix deals to memoirs and interviews, were seen by many inside the palace as just as damaging, even if in a different way. To William, the monarchy needed to prove it was not above accountability, even when it came to family. Behind the walls of Kensington Palace, legal teams were reportedly assembled. Their goal, to explore how titles could be revoked without causing a constitutional uproar. In theory, only the reigning monarch can remove royal titles. But William, with Parliament's quiet backing, seems to be laying groundwork for a smoother, precedent-based process. The strategy, insiders claim, is to begin with Prince Andrew, using his case as a legal model. Once the path is established, the same method could be applied to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. That way, no one could accuse William of personal bias. It would look like institutional reform, not revenge. It's a calculated, careful move that reflects William's colder, more methodical leadership style. And it explains why Harry's sudden dash to London feels less like a family reunion and more like a last-ditch negotiation. While this drama unfolds in London, Meghan is reportedly preparing her own counter-strategy. In California, she's said to be developing a new lifestyle and cosmetics brand, a venture designed to capitalize on her global fame. But this, too, has sent waves of unease through Buckingham Palace. The late Queen Elizabeth had made it clear that royal titles were not to be used for commercial gain, and Meghan's new business allegedly plans to do exactly that. To complicate matters further, she has apparently taken the bold step of legally adopting Duchess of Sussex as her surname. This means that even if the palace removes her title, she can still sign contracts, promote products, and brand herself using that name as if it were part of her legal identity. For palace officials, this is seen as a direct challenge to royal authority, a clever but provocative attempt to stay royal in name, even if the institution disowns her. William's response, according to reports, has been swift and strategic. He has quietly moved to block any trademarks that link Duchess of Sussex to commercial products. He has also drawn firmer boundaries around royal heirlooms, preventing Meghan from using family items, such as Princess Diana's watch, as visible symbols in promotional materials. For William, the issue is not personal style, but the sanctity of royal symbolism. Allowing royal property or names to be used for personal profit undermines the very boundaries that keep the monarchy distinct from celebrity culture. To him, Meghan's brand represents a merging of royalty and commerce that threatens the institution's credibility. As these legal and personal tensions build, King Charles finds himself in a difficult position. Weakened by illness, he has reportedly chosen to stay out of direct conflict, acting as a quiet peacekeeper rather than an enforcer. Friends say he remains torn between two instincts, the father who loves his son and the monarch who must defend his legacy. He understands Harry's pain and estrangement, but also knows that public patience with royal drama is wearing thin. Government officials have allegedly warned the king that unless the monarchy restores stability soon, Parliament may start pushing for greater constitutional control over royal affairs. For a monarch who values the balance between tradition and independence, this is an alarming prospect. Every sign points to a man caught between personal loyalty and institutional duty. Harry, meanwhile, appears to be making his move. Upon learning that William was advancing legal preparations, he reportedly acted immediately. No public statements, no PR advisors, just a private flight to London. His goal, insiders say, is to appeal to his brother face to face and possibly even admit past mistakes. Those close to him describe a man torn between pride and fear, desperate to salvage the last remnants of his royal connection. Yet the palace's silence on his arrival speaks volumes. No official welcome, no acknowledgement, no sign of reconciliation. When Buckingham Palace chooses silence, it's rarely accidental. It's usually a signal of disapproval. Harry may be hoping for forgiveness, but he's returning to a royal household that has already moved on without him. Those who have witnessed William's transformation in recent months describe a man increasingly confident, disciplined, and unsentimental. Gone is the image of the reserved older brother overshadowed by his siblings' charisma. In his place stands a future king who views the monarchy as a brand to be protected at all costs. Advisors say he's less interested in emotional reconciliation and more focused on setting examples. If Harry wants mercy, William allegedly wants proof of reform, no more public grievances, no more tell-all books, and no more indirect jabs through interviews or memoirs. To regain a measure of trust, Harry would have to return to the quiet, dutiful role he abandoned when he and Meghan stepped away from royal duties. But to do that would mean sacrificing much of what he's built in the last few years. It's a painful paradox. The independence he fought for has made him free but also expendable. Inside Buckingham Palace, the mood is said to be tense, almost funereal. Senior courtiers speak of a royal family divided not just by geography but by philosophy. Charles represents compassion and continuity, a monarch guided by sentiment. William represents reform and control, a leader determined to modernize the crown through discipline. And Harry, caught between both, embodies the human cost of that transformation. The monarchy has survived wars, divorces, and scandals, but few crises have felt as personal as this one. For the first time in decades, the very concept of royal identity is being rewritten in real time. If William does proceed with revoking the Sussex titles, the consequences will be enormous. Once the documents are signed, Harry would revert to his birth name, Henry Charles Albert David Mountbatten Windsor, and Meghan would become Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor. Their children, Archie and Lilibet, would lose their prince and princess styles. The impact wouldn't be just ceremonial. Much of the couple's appeal in media and business has depended on their royal connection. Book deals, streaming contracts, and public appearances have all leaned heavily on their titles. Stripped of those, their market value would plummet, and their security entitlements could be reduced as well. In essence, they would become what one aide reportedly described as another celebrity couple with a podcast and a past. The symbolism would be devastating. The final, quiet erasure of their royal status from the official family record. As dawn breaks over Buckingham Palace in this imagined narrative, two brothers stand on opposite sides of history. William, behind palace walls, consolidates his authority and prepares to usher the monarchy into a new age, one of control, accountability, and image management. Harry, across the Atlantic, or perhaps standing outside those same walls, faces the painful realization that the institution he once defied is now closing ranks without him. Meghan, watching events unfold from California, sees the potential unraveling of a brand built around the royal identity she once tried to redefine. The royal website will update, the titles will vanish, and history will quietly record the shift. There will be no announcement, no ceremony, just the silent click of deletion, the modern equivalent of exile. This moment, as some royal observers interpret it, represents more than a family feud. It marks the evolution of the monarchy itself. For centuries, royal survival has depended on adaptation. In this case, adaptation means sacrifice. The indulgent, emotional era of confession and controversy is giving way to a colder, more corporate form of royalty. William's leadership, if this portrayal is accurate, is not driven by cruelty but by calculation. He understands that the monarchy's strength lies in its mystique, and mystique cannot coexist with scandal. The public may sympathize with Harry's longing for authenticity, but the institution prizes stability above all. In the end, legacy outweighs love. As the palace lights fade and the cameras turn elsewhere, what remains is a stark image. Two brothers divided by duty, a father caught in the middle, and a crown that endures at any cost. Harry's journey from prince to exile, from soldier to memoirist, from royal heir to outsider, encapsulates the contradictions of modern monarchy. Meghan's transformation from actress to duchess to entrepreneur mirrors the collision between celebrity and tradition. And William's ascent steady, methodical, and unyielding signals a monarchy preparing for its next chapter. Whether that chapter will be remembered as renewal or rupture depends on how history interprets what happens next. But for now, as insiders whisper of titles to be erased and papers ready to be signed, one truth dominates the story. The crown survives, even if the family does not. Power doesn't whisper, it reigns. And William, in the eyes of those watching closely, already wears it.